The lemon peel stitch is one of my favorite stitches. One, because of the texture it gives to an outfit, and also because it's a very simple stitch to work with. So in this tutorial, I'll be using the lemon peel stitch to create this halter dress with ruffles at the bottom part of the dress. And I hope that you're going to enjoy working this dress as much as I did. Hello and welcome back to LaDenser Crochets. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. My name is Liz. Kindly subscribe and join the family, and let's get to creating this awesome dress. I'll be using a medium weight yarn in color burnt orange, a 3.5mm crochet hook, measuring tape, darning needle, stitch markers, and a pair of scissors. We start by making two identical pieces like this one. I've started with the strap, then I moved on to make a cap. And for the cap, you're going to use these measurements, the bust measurement, and I'm going to take the bust measurement, in my case 40, and divide it by 4. So whatever your bust measurement, divide it by 4. This will give me 10. Then I'll take whatever number that I've gotten and subtract 2, and that will give me 8. If your bust is 36, you divide it by 4 to get 9, then take 9 minus 2 to get 7. And the measurements are in inches. So get that bust measurement and divide it by 4, then subtract 2. And after working this cap, the bottom part of the cap should be the 8 inches that I've just gotten. Without stretching, actually, you don't really have to stretch. You're going to take that measurement without stretching, and that gets me to 8 inches. So I'm going to show you how to work that, and we're going to start with a slip knot, then chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then insert the hook into the second chain. So that's the first, then into the second, insert the hook and pull up a loop to get 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops to complete a single crochet. Then yarn over, insert the hook into the second chain, the third chain that is, then pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 to complete a double crochet. So we've done a single crochet and a double crochet. Chain 1 and turn, begin with a single crochet in the first stitch, then a double crochet into the second stitch, just like that. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 3. Begin row 3 with a single crochet in the first stitch, then a single crochet into the second stitch. Not a single crochet but a double crochet. So we're working a single crochet and a double crochet. Chain 1, turn, start with a single crochet, then the second stitch will be a double crochet, and we're going to repeat this row until we get a total of 50 rows. If you want a longer strap, you can do more rows. So let me go on, work my 50 rows, then I'll be back to show you what to do next. I'm done with the 50 rows, and this is how my strap looks like. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn and begin row 1 of the cap. Start with a single crochet, a double crochet into the second stitch, then a single crochet into the same stitch to get 3 stitches. That's row 1 of the cap. Chain 2 and turn to begin the second row. We're going to begin the second row with a double crochet where there was a single crochet. Then we're going to have a single crochet where there was a double crochet previously. Then a double crochet where there was the first single crochet. That's row 2. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn to begin row 3 We're going to begin row 3 with a single crochet in the first stitch, which was a double crochet, then back into that same stitch with a double crochet. That is the second stitch in the first stitch, then back into the same stitch with one single crochet. So in total we should have 3 stitches in the first stitch. Then the second stitch will get a double crochet, just one double crochet. The third stitch will get a single crochet into the same stitch, a double crochet. And for the very last stitch, I'm going to work it between the double crochet and the chain 3 at the beginning. Chain 2 actually, sorry, chain 2. So that's the last single crochet, chain 1, chain 2, and turn to begin row 4. In row 4 we do not have an increase, so we start with a double crochet. The chain 2 does not act as a stitch, it's just a turning chain. The next stitch will get a single crochet. The one that follows will get a double crochet. Just make sure that you place a double crochet where there was a single crochet and a single crochet where there was a double crochet. Keep alternating the 2 stitches till you get to the end. So I'm at a single crochet and my last stitch should be a double crochet. So when you start with a double crochet, you should end with a double crochet. When you start with a single crochet, you should end with a single crochet. So that's row 4 done. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 5. Row 5 is an increase row, so we start with an increase, single crochet into the first stitch, double crochet into the first stitch, then another single crochet into that very first stitch. The stitch that follows will get a double crochet. The one that follows will get a single crochet, then a double crochet, then a single crochet, and then a double crochet. And that gets us into the last stitch, which will get one single crochet, then a double crochet into the same stitch, and then the last stitch will be a single crochet, which will be between the chain 2 and that last stitch right there. Chain 1 and turn, chain 2, sorry, chain 2 and turn to begin row 6. Row 6 does not have an increase, so we start with a double crochet followed by a single crochet where there was a double crochet previously, a double crochet where there was a single crochet where there was a double crochet, then a double crochet next, and repeat to the end. At the end of this row, the last stitch should be a double crochet. So keep in mind that we are increasing as we alternate. So one row with increase, the next one with no increase. And we always increase in the row that starts with a single crochet. When you start a row with a single crochet, you end with a single crochet. When you start a row with a double crochet, you end with a double crochet. So we're going to keep on alternating these rows until we get the length of the cap, the length of our the desired length of our cap. In my case, I want to work until I get 8 inches, which is a quarter of my bust minus 2 inches. So I'll keep going until I get to the 8 inches, then I'll be back to show you what to do next. Now you're going to do 2 of these, and once you're done with the second one, do not cut off the yarn because we're going to use it to connect the 2 caps. I have the 2 caps ready. So that's the first and this is the second. As you can see, I've not cut off the yarn from the second one because I'm going to use it to connect, and I've done a total of 14 rows in each one of them. So now at the end of the 14th row, we can confirm the measurements that it's at 8 inches without stretching. Then I'm going to get the hook and I'll put it back into my last stitch of the 14th row in the second cap. Then I'll chain 1 and turn to begin row 15. I'm going to begin with a single crochet, with an increase actually, single crochet, then double crochet, then single crochet into the same stitch. Then I'm going to work the next stitch with a double crochet, the next one with a single crochet, then double crochet, single crochet next, double crochet, and keep working till you get to the last stitch. When you get to the last stitch, do not increase. So we're just increasing on one end. So I'll keep going to the end of that cap, then I'll show you what to do when you get to that very end. The last stitch over here is a single crochet, and we're not going to increase. We're just going to turn the other cap to the other side so that we can connect it to this cap. But because in that first stitch we're going to have a single crochet, I'll place a double crochet into the very last stitch over here so that I can start with a single crochet on the other cap, so that our stitches can alternate the right way. So right there I'll connect with a single crochet, and my 2 caps are connected like this. Then I'll continue with the stitches to the end. When I get to the end, I'll do an increase. So a double crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into the next stitch, then double crochet next, single crochet next, and keep going to the end. I'll meet you there. The last stitch we're going to have a single crochet, a double crochet into the same stitch, and a single crochet in between the chain 2 and the double crochet. Chain 2, and we're done with the connection row, which is my row 15. It could be any number of row in your case, depending on the size that you're working. Then to begin row 16, I've already chained 2 and turned. Row 16 is going to be a row with no increase, so I'll start with a double crochet in the very first stitch. Then we're going to have a single crochet into the next stitch, a double crochet into the next, single crochet next. Then I'll keep alternating my stitches till I get to the end of row 16. I'm done with row 16, and this is what we have. So now I'm just going to get my measuring tape and I'm going to measure And when we're measuring, we want to make sure that we are getting to half of our bust measurements, because the 2/4 represent half. So measuring from one end to the other one, and in this case we're going to measure while stretching a little bit. So place your measuring tape like this, give it a bit of a stretch. It gets me to 19. 19 multiplied by 2 is 38, and half of my bust measurement is 20. So you're going to get half of your bust measurement plus 5. 20 plus 5 is 25. So I want to work while increasing until that length below there is 25 inches while stretched. I'm at 19 now, so I'll keep going until I get to 25. This next row is an increase row, so I'll start with a single crochet, a chain 1 and turn in, then single crochet, double crochet into the same stitch, then single crochet into the same stitch. So we're increasing at the beginning and at the end. Then the next stitch will get a double crochet, the next one will get a single crochet, and I'll keep going to the end. Once I get to the end, I'll chain 2 and turn, then I'll work row 17. Is it 17 or 16? This is 16, so row 17 will not have an increase because row 16 has an increase. So let me work my rows until I get to a length of 25 inches, which is half of my bust measurements plus 5. I'm at row 23 now, and I've gotten to the length that I wanted while stretching that bottom part of my top. So measuring from one end to the other without stretching, I'm at 22, and then when I give my work a bit of a stretch, I'll get to 25 inches, which is what I was going for. So now we are ready to join into a complete top. We need to consider the waist measurements at this point, and my waist measurement is, let's confirm, so I'm marking a waist measurement of 39. So I'm taking 39 minus 25, and that will be 14. 25 is the length that I have, 39 is what I want to get to. So then at the very end, you want to make sure that you're on a row that does not have an increase. Then at that point, I'll make a chain that will get me to 14 inches. 14 plus 25, that will give me 39, which is my waist measurement. I'll start by chaining 20. So right here, I'm just making my chains. I want to get to 20, and then I'll measure the 20 chains to see how long they are. So I've gotten to 20 inches. I'll get my measuring tape and confirm that measurement to see whether I'm getting close to 14. And I want to measure while stretching a little bit, not so much, but a little. That's getting me to 8 inches. So I'm going to chain 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 15 actually. So I'm going up to 15. That gets me to 35 chains, and again I'm going to confirm the measurements without stretching too much, and that's getting me to 12. I want to get to 14, so I'll chain 5 more. So in total I'm going to have 40 chains. With the 40 chains, again I'll confirm the measurement of that chain to see whether it's getting to 14, and there we are at 14. So 40 is enough for me. You can chain as many chains as you need. It it doesn't have to be the same as mine. Then we're going to connect the chain to the other side of the top. So right here on that first stitch, I'm going to slip stitch into it. Make sure that your chain is not twisted. So slip stitch, chain 1, and we're going to turn to work the next row, which is going to be row 24. Begin in that very first stitch with a single crochet. Then we're going to work into the chains, yarn over, and do a double crochet into the first chain, a single crochet into the next chain, a double crochet into the chain that follows, a single crochet into the next one, and we're going to alternate the stitches on the chains until we get to the other part, to the end of the chains. And at the end of the chains, I'll show you what to do at that point. So keep going with a single crochet, alternating with a double crochet. I'm working towards the end of the chain, and I have a double crochet, a single crochet, a double crochet, and a single crochet into my very last chain. I'm going to have a single crochet there, and because that's a double crochet, it should get a single crochet. So I'll place another stitch into the very last chain, which is a double crochet, so that we can have a single crochet next. You need to make sure that your stitches alternate the right way. So now just keep going with the alternate stitches until you get to the end of the row, and I'll meet you at that very end to complete it. I'm coming to the end, so I have a single crochet and a double crochet at the very end because I started with a single crochet. Then I'll slip stitch into the single crochet, chain 1, and cut off the yarn at that point. So get the pair of scissors and cut the yarn, pull the yarn through and fasten. And there we have a round, and our top is taking shape now. We can now start working all the way down and get to the skirt part. So to work the next row, you need to make sure that you're on the wrong side of your top. This is the front part. I've already shown you the back part of the top, which is this one over here. So now from the wrong side, hold your work like this so that we can determine the exact middle of the chain that we made. You can count the stitches and divide them by 2, but this is just how I work mine. So get the middle stitch, which is that one over there. Then get your yarn and start with a slip knot like that. Now you want to start with a stitch which is going to be a single crochet. So I'm going to move a stitch backward and connect my yarn over there, slip stitch, then chain 1, go back into that stitch with a single crochet. Then the next stitch will get a double crochet, and I'm going to work over that end that I've connected over there, single crochet next, then double crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next one, then double crochet into the next, and keep going all the way around. I'll meet you at the end. My last stitch should be a double crochet, then I'll slip stitch into the first single crochet that I did, chain 1 and turn to begin the next row. After turning, I'll not start in the first stitch, I'll start in the second stitch, which is a double crochet stitch, and over it I'm going to place a single crochet. Then when I come to the end, that is when I work the first stitch with a double crochet. So the next stitch gets a double crochet, the next one gets a single crochet, a double crochet, a single crochet next, and I'll keep going all the way to the end of that row. I'm in that very first stitch that I skipped, and it's going to get a double crochet. Then I'll slip stitch into the first single crochet that I did, slip stitch there, chain 1 and turn to begin the next row. And we're going to work this row the same as the previous two, beginning with a single crochet onto the double crochet. Then I'll work the double crochet at the end, then double crochet next, and I'll keep going, alternating between a double crochet and a single crochet, and I'll repeat my rows until I get to my top length. So let me show you how to measure the length of the top. Starting at the top of the cap, working down, my top length is 13, but I'll work until I get to 12 inches, and then I'll stop there. Then I'll start increasing to achieve the hip measurements. So from here I'll just repeat this row. It's a repeat row. We are working it the same way. When we get to the end, we end with a double crochet, slip stitch, chain 1, turn, begin the single crochet on top of the double crochet, and always end with a double crochet. So keep doing your rows until you get to your top length. At this point, I've gotten to my desired top length, and I'm going to get the measuring tape to measure and see whether we've gotten to 12, because I was working 12 inches for the length of the top. So as you can see, I'm at 12 inches, and now I'm ready to start increasing to get to my hip measurements. So this is how I hold my work. I want to make sure that I get the exact middle at the front and the exact middle at the back. Then I'm going to get a stitch marker and mark the exact middle at the front, because we already know where the exact middle at the back is, because that's where my stitch is at the starting stitch. So now I'll mark the exact middle at the front part. You can count the stitches, but I don't like counting stitches, so this is how I go about it. Then after that, I'm going to align the back part with the front part like this, so that they are totally aligned like that. And then I'm going to get stitch markers and mark the two ends over there, as you can see. So at this end over here, I'm going to mark, and I want to make sure that I mark on a double crochet stitch. So I'm going to mark over there. Then the stitch marker that I've used to mark at the front part, I'll use it to mark on the other side at the point where I'll do an increase for the hips. So then after marking, we already know where we're going to increase in order to achieve the hip measurement. So now we start the next row, and as usual, I've already chained 1 and turned, so I'll start with a single crochet on top of the double crochet. Then I'll work a double crochet into the single crochet stitch, and I'll keep alternating the stitches until I get to the stitch marker. When I get to the stitch marker, I'll take it out and I'm going to work a single crochet into that stitch, a double crochet into the same stitch, and then a single crochet into the same stitch. So in total we have 3 stitches in that one stitch. Then I'll mark the middle stitch, which is the double crochet stitch, and then I'll continue into the next stitch. I'll work a double crochet, the next one will get a single crochet, then double crochet, and I'll keep working till I get to the next stitch marker. I'm at the second stitch marker, so I'll take it out, then I'll place a single crochet into that stitch, a double crochet into the same stitch, and then a single crochet into the same stitch, a total of 3 stitches. Then I'll get the stitch marker and mark the middle stitch, which is the double crochet stitch. Then I'll move on to the next stitch and place a double crochet, a single crochet next, a double crochet next, and I'll keep working to the end of the row. At the end of the row, I'll do a slip stitch on top of the single crochet, then chain 1 and turn. In the next row, we're going to work with no increase, but we'll keep marking that stitch where the stitch markers are, the stitches where the stitch markers are. Now, this is for those of you whose hip measurements and the waist measurement do not have a huge difference. Like if say in my case, my waist measurement is 39 and I'm working a hip measurement of 42. So the difference is not huge, and therefore I'll alternate the increases. So when I increase in one row, the next row will have no increase. But if there's a huge difference between your waist measurement and your hip measurement, I'll advise that you increase in every row. Like for example, if your waist measurement is 30 and you're working a hip measurement of say 45, then that's a huge difference and you'll need to increase in every row so that you can get to your hip measurements faster. If the difference is small, you're going to increase in alternate rows. So in this case, I'm increasing in alternate rows. So when I get to the first stitch marker, I'm approaching it now and I'm just working the double crochet, the single crochet, a double crochet, and I've gotten to the stitch marker. So I'm going to take it out, and into that stitch I'll work a single crochet, just one single crochet, one stitch. Then I'll mark the stitch again because I'm going to need it when I'm increasing in the next row. Then I'll continue to the next stitch, which is a double crochet. That is, if your hip measurement and the waist measurement do not have a huge difference. If they do, make sure that you increase in every row. So instead of just working a single crochet in that stitch, you're going to work a single crochet, a double crochet, and another single crochet. So now I'll keep going to the next stitch marker, and when I get there, I'm not going to increase. I'll work a single crochet into the stitch and then continue all the way to the end of the row. So I'm going to work to the end of the row, then come back. I'm at the end of the row, and I'll just do my slip stitch on top of the single crochet, chain 1 and turn to begin the next row. Now because I've not increased in the previous row, I'm going to increase in this one. So I'll start with a single crochet on top of the double crochet, then I'll work the alternate stitches until I get to the stitch marker. So I'll show you one more time how to increase, then I'll let you keep going with the increases until you get to your hip measurements. I'm at the stitch marker, so I'll take it out, then do a double crochet into that stitch because it was a single crochet stitch. Into the same stitch, I'll do a single crochet and then a double crochet into the same stitch. A total of 3 stitches in that stitch. Then I'll mark the single crochet stitch, which is a middle stitch. Then in the next stitch, I'll do a single crochet, double crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, double crochet next, then keep going until you get to the next stitch marker. I'm at the second stitch marker, so I'm going to take it out and increase at that point, starting with a double crochet because that's a single crochet stitch. So double crochet, single crochet into the same stitch, and another double crochet into the same stitch. Then mark the single crochet, which is the middle stitch at that point of increase, and keep going. The next stitch is a single crochet stitch, so we're going to place a single crochet into the next stitch, which was a double crochet stitch, sorry, then double crochet next, single crochet next, and keep going to the end of the row. At the end of the row, I'll do a slip stitch on top of the single crochet at the beginning, chain 1 and turn to begin the next row. Now my next row will not have an increase at the points of increase, but then I'll increase in the next one, and I'll keep going until I get to my hip measurement while slightly stretching out my work. So I'm going to show you how to measure the hips, and then I'll keep going with the increases. Meet you once I'm done. This is how we're going to measure the hips, and we measure from one stitch marker to the other. So starting from the first stitch marker to the second one, while slightly stretching, as you can see, I'm getting to 20 inches and I want to work up to 21 because my hip measurement is 42. So I'll keep going with my increase in alternate rows, and then once I get to 21 inches, which multiplied by 2 is 42, I'll stop increasing and just work until I get to the full length of the dress. I've done a total of 5 increases to get me to my hip measurement, as you can see, and I'll just show you how to measure this. Like I mentioned, we measure from one stitch marker to the next, and we need to stretch out our work slightly, and when I do, that gets me to 21, almost 22, which is okay. We can have an extra inch. So now I'm going to remove the stitch markers because I do not need them anymore, and now I'll just work rows with no increase at all. Right now I'm at a length of almost 16 inches and I want to work up to around 35. So I'll work up to 32. When I get to 32 inches, 32 or 33, when I get there, I'll work differently. But then from this point until I get to the 32 inches, which is not the full length that I want a full length of 35, but I'll work until I have 3 inches remaining, and then I'll be back to show you what to do next. So keep going with your rows. We just alternating between a single crochet and a double crochet. Make sure that the stitch that had a double crochet gets a single crochet, and the stitch that previously had a single crochet gets a double crochet. Keep going until you have your full length minus 3 inches, and then I'll show you what to do after that. I've worked to my desired length of the dress, and this is what I have so far. I'm loving how this is coming along, and the texture is just amazing. So we can take the measuring tape and confirm this measurement from the top of the cap all the way down. So as you can see, at a length of almost 33. I wanted to work up to 32, so 32.5 is quite okay. So now I'm going to do an extension with a different stitch at the bottom part, creating the spaces where we're going to work the ruffles, because we are working ruffles at the bottom of the dress. And now we're going to start by chaining 4. The chain 4 will act as a double crochet plus 1 chain, so chain 4 at the beginning of this first row of extension at the bottom. After chaining 4, we turn, skip the second stitch and work into the third place a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch and work a double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet after skipping, chain 1, double crochet after skipping, and keep going to the end of the row. So this is the mesh stitch, and we're going to work like this to the end of row 1. Then I'll meet you at the end to show you how to work row 2. At the end, we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch into the chain 3 at the beginning, then chain 4 and turn to begin row 2 of the mesh rows. So we're going to begin row 2 on top of the next double crochet. So place a double crochet on top of the previous double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet next and on top of the double crochet, and we're going to do a total of 4 rows. So I'm in row 2, and this is basically what we're doing in all the rows. Just chain 4 at the beginning, then start working on top of the next double crochet, and then do double crochets separated by a chain. When you get to the end of the row, you slip stitch on top of the chain 3 and then chain 4 and keep going. So let me work my rows, then come back. I'm done with the 4 mesh rows, as you can see, and now I'm going to start on the ruffle row. So I'll start by chaining 4 then turn to begin the first ruffle row, and I'm going to go back into that stitch where the chain 4 is and place a double crochet. Then I'll chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1, another double crochet into the same chain 1 space, then again chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet into the same stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1, a second double crochet into the chain 1 space. So basically what we're doing is we're doing 2 double crochets into each of the stitches, but the double crochets are separated by a chain 1. I'm so sorry, I got carried away here and I did not focus my camera so well, so you might not be seeing exactly what I'm doing, but we're just basically placing a double crochet into the double crochet stitch, chain 1, another double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1, another double crochet into the chain 1 space. And that is the pattern that we're going to repeat till we get to the end of this first row of the ruffles. As you can see, the ruffles are forming, so now just keep going to the end and I'll meet you there. I'm in the last chain 1 space where I'll do a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, then chain 1 and complete the row by doing a slip stitch on top of the chain 3. So get into the chain 3 right there, then slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 4 and turn to begin the second row of the ruffles. We're going to have 3 layers, and this is my first layer of the ruffles, and each of the layers has 2 rows. So begin in the second double crochet, chain 1, work in the next double crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet in the next double crochet. And this is simple. We're just chaining 1 and placing a double crochet into each of the double crochets from the previous row. So keep going all the way around with a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, and make sure that you do not skip any of the double crochets. I'm coming to the end of that row and I'm doing the last double crochet actually. Then I'll chain 1 and complete the row by doing a slip stitch on top of the chain 3. Then I'll chain 1 and cut off the yarn. At that point we are done with the first layer of the ruffles. Pull the yarn through and fasten to complete. And now this is what we have. As you can see, the ruffles are looking pretty good. So we're going to do the next layer now. I'm going to begin the second layer on the 3rd row. So I'm going to skip the 4th row. Go into the 3rd row of the mesh stitch. You can insert your hook in any of the chain 1 spaces, then make a slip knot with your yarn and the hook and slip stitch into that chain 1 space. Then you're going to chain 1, 2, 3 and 4. Go back into that chain 1 space and place a double crochet. So that's the second double crochet because the chain is a double crochet. Chain 1 again and place another double crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip onto the next chain 1 space and place a double crochet. So right there I'm going to work a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1, a third double crochet into the same chain 1 space. So we're working into the chain 1 spaces of row 3 of the mesh rows, and we're going to place a total of 3 double crochets into each of the chain 1 space. But then you have to make sure that the double crochets are separated by a chain 1. Like right here I've made a mistake, I did not chain, so I'll go back to the point where I did not chain, then chain 1, do a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet for a total of 3. So that is what we have over there, chain 1, skip to the next chain 1 space and do 3 double crochets separated by a chain 1, and that's what you're going to repeat to the end of that row. This right here is what we're going to have all the way around that row. So let me go to the end, then I'll meet you at the end. I'm coming to the end of that row and I'm doing my last double crochets into the last chain 1 space, the 3 double crochets separated by a chain 1. Then I'll chain 1 at the end and slip stitch onto the chain 3. So count 3 chains and slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and turn to begin row 2 of the second layer. So turn, and for this second row, we're just going to work 1 double crochet into each of the previous double crochets. And then make sure that the double crochets are separated by a chain 1. So chain 1, double crochet into the previous double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet, and keep going to the end. At the end of the row, I'll chain 1 and do a slip stitch on top of the chain 3 at the beginning. So into that chain, slip stitch, chain 1 and cut off the yarn because we're done with the 2 rows. Pull the yarn through and fasten, and we're done with the second layer of the ruffles. So now we're ready to do the third layer, and for the third layer we're going to do on to the first row, the row before the first row of the ruffles right here. Into those stitches that we skipped, that's where we're going to insert the hook, do a slip knot, then slip stitch into that stitch, then chain 4, and then go into that stitch, that very first stitch, with a double crochet. Then I'm going to work a double crochet into that stitch, chain 1, another double crochet into the same stitch for a total of 3 double crochets that are separated by a chain 1. Then I'm going to chain 1 and skip over to the next stitch that we skipped when we were working the first row. Do a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, chain 1, a third double crochet into the same stitch. Then we're going to chain 1, go into the next stitch that we skipped and do 3 double crochets separated by a chain 1. And then you're going to work like that all the way to the end. After you get to the end, you're going to chain 4, First we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3, chain 4 and turn to begin the second row, and we're going to work this the same exact way we've worked the previous layer of the ruffles. So I'll just go on, finish on this layer, and then I'll be back once I'm completely done with my dress. At this point, I'm done with the ruffles. As you can see, they are looking pretty awesome, the 3 layers. And now I'll just get my darning needle and weave in the ends. I'm going to do this off camera because I'm so tired. Working these ruffles is not easy, so I'll do this off camera and then I'll be done. So go on weaving your ends and you'll be done with your dress. So I'll weave in these ones at the bottom and the ones on the straps. Then I'll show you the final look on the dress. So this right here is the back part of our dress when we are completely done, and I'm loving everything about this dress. I can't wait to see it on my client. And this right here is the front part of the dress. We have the ruffles at the bottom, and right here we have the upper part of the dress. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the tutorial. If you've enjoyed it, kindly leave a like, a comment. Tell me what you think about the dress. What other pieces do you think we can make with this stitch? And don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Leave a special gift for the video by clicking on the thanks button, and see you in the next tutorial.